All right, so solving quadratic equations, there are several methods that can be used to solve a quadratic equation: graphing, factoring, completing the square, and the quadratic formula. You don't have to write this part. This is just for you to know. So we have already learned the graphing. So we've learned graphing, and now we're learning quadratic formula. So here is, I'm not even going to write it in this box because it's so big. I write too big for it to fit in there. But here's where the first thing you need to write. So I'm going to change my colors here. You want to write the quadratic formula, and it is x equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac divided by 2a. All of that. So go ahead and write that down. All right, so you can see where we have our variables. We have two b's, we have two a's, and one c. So what we did yesterday, finding a, b, and c, this is where we are going to substitute those values here to figure out our x-intercept or roots or solutions. All right, so here are the steps. You want to write these down. Step 1, you want to make sure your quadratic equation is in standard form. So that means it is in order by exponent, greatest to least, and then it is equal to 0. Step 2, we want to identify a, b, and c. And step 3, you're going to plug a, b, and c into the formula. And we're going to add a step 4 here. And for step 4, we're just going to go and head over to Desmos and plug in that entire formula into Desmos. So we're going to say use Desmos to solve. We're going to look at our first example. So it says solve for x squared plus 6x minus 16 equals 0. So think back to step 1. Step 1 said make sure that it's in standard form. So here we see the greatest exponent 2 is first, and then x with an exponent of 1 would be here, and then x with an exponent of 0 or no x would be here. So yes, it is in standard form. Step 2, we want to identify a, b, and c. So I'm going to do two things. Remember that standard form below this is, or maybe I'll do it above, a x squared plus bx plus c equals 0. So this kind of helps you identify where a, b, and c are. So a is in front of x squared here, or it's the coefficient for x squared. Here, since x squared exists, the coefficient is 1. So a equals 1. The coefficient for x, or what's in front of x, is 6. So b equals 6. And then what's in place of c, the constant that does not have a variable with it, is negative 16. All right, so now that we have A, B, and C, I'm going to rewrite our formula. So our formula is x equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac divided by 2a. This is our formula. To solve for x. That's why it has x equals. So step 1, we have standard form. Step 2, we have found A, B, and C. Step 3 is to plug this in. So now that we know exactly what our formula looks like, we're going to begin, we're going to rewrite this, making sure we substitute all A, B, and C for the values that we found. So I'm just going to rewrite the formula, but every time I have a letter, I'm going to stop and insert the number value. So the formula starts with, and I'm actually not going to use the x equal part. I'm just going to use, I'm going to start at negative b. So negative, I'm going to stop, insert b, which is 6. Plus or minus the square root. I'm going to stop at b and put in 6. I'm going to square that minus 4. Stop at a, put in 1. Times c. So I'm going to stop, put in c, which is negative 16. There's my division bar. And then 2 times a. So I'm going to stop, put in a, which is 1. So there is me plugging in the values for A, B, and C. That is step 3. Okay, so we have decimals open. We are going to type in that equation to figure out the answer. So we're going to do negative 6. And we're actually going to go ahead and hit the division sign on this. And then go back up to the 6 because everything is over the division sign. So we're going to have, let's just do this. I'm going to start with the division sign. So that way we have a negative parentheses 6 is at the top. We're going to write it exactly, or type it in exactly how we wrote it. Now the plus minus sign means that you're going to do this twice. One time you're going to do it with adding, and one time you're going to do it with subtracting. So let's start with adding, and then we need a square root button, and we're going to use our parentheses to put in 6 squared minus, remember we want all of this under the square root. Then we had 1, and then we have times negative 16. And then at the bottom, we have 2 times 1. And they give us our answer right here. Making sure that everything is exactly how the formula is. So be very careful when you're doing this. And then I'm just going to re-enter it. I don't know if we can copy and paste it. I don't think you can copy and paste. Oh, yeah, you can. And where we had the plus sign, we want to know what happens when we subtract that. So that gives us our two answers. It tells us 2 and -8. So over here, the answers, we're going to say that x equals, and we normally put the smaller number first, so -8, 2 will be our answer. And that's it.